it's kind of a ghost town. It's really interesting, but yet we continue to show up day in and day out, week in and week out. What's your thoughts overall?
So yeah, man, I saw somebody actually posted a tweet, I think it was yesterday, and they were talking about how NFT Twitter isn't necessarily dead. You know, there's still a ton of amazing projects that are launching every single day. It's just people on Twitter, they're not showing up as much as I think they were. You know, numbers are down in spaces, obviously. I've seen people are dealing with more IRL stuff now that, you know, summer's over. Kids are going back to school, right? That's one thing. Us parents, I've got a couple of kids. My daughter, she just started. My son just started, and then I still got the baby. So it's still, I could understand how schedules might not be able to take part in certain Twitter spaces and be as engaged throughout the day on tweets and stuff like that. So I think it depends on what time zone too, man, and what space you're hopping in. Like you talked about, there's still spaces that are getting 2,000-3,000 people, and they're starting to mention NFTs. So I think all that is what we're seeing is people are kind of taking not necessarily a step away from NFTs because they're obviously still buying. People are still selling out projects. There's still those hype projects that sell out in an hour, 30
Mm-hmm.
minutes, a day, 2 days. There's people in our network that are selling out their projects in a week or less, you know? So it's not necessarily that people aren't there and they're not buying. I think basically what it is, it's just kind of that slow hump, right? August, September, and then we'll see kind of where we go from there.
I totally agree with you. I think that September, October is going to reveal a lot. I think the merge is going to do a lot more. People are kind of downplaying it. I think the tone has kind of changed across the space as far as, oh, the merge isn't going to bring as much as you guys are expecting, and true, that might be the case, but if it wasn't, they wouldn't be going through all this hassle to do it, right? I think it's going to bring a little something more. Maybe not right away, maybe not instantaneously, but I think September into October, November, December for sure, and January, because it's when myself and a lot of other people came into this space, December, January, and unfortunately, 90 days. They always tell you in corporate America, they give a motherfucker 90 days, right? You sit in this cubicle. If you can survive 90 days, we'll give you an actual position, your title, your shit. You can start getting your benefits, all that stuff, right? January, February, March, April hit, shit started hitting the fan. Motherfuckers packed it in and said, I'm out. I can't do this. I can't handle the heat. And we've stayed here this entire time. And, you know, it's been interesting to see it slowly build up. And Nick Snyder mentioned it yesterday, Savage Baskets. It's moved up a lot faster than we anticipated, right? Like it's made a quick little run to double from middle around in the eights and now middle and around to 18 to 19. Like that's fucking crazy for ETH. That you don't really see that. So are we gonna, is this a bull trap? Are we going to see kind of the rug get pulled out? I don't think so. I just said it earlier, that I'm really looking for this to kind of plateau and then pew, maybe a drop, maybe a little bit of a drop, 14, 15. I don't know, but as me and you have talked about multiple times on this damn exact segment, average down, scoop up a little bit more, and get ready for the pump. I truly believe this time next year, August next year, the previous, we didn't see previous lows, right? Like previous lows are always what you always have to, previous lows, previous highs. I think it's going to smash through the previous 4,000, 5, 6, 7. Who knows? Who knows where it goes? This is total fucking guesstimation. This is not financial advice, guesstimation. But I also think next time we see a dip, because it's always a cycle, I don't think it'll drop down below 2,000-3,000 this next time around. Who knows? Maybe even more than that.
Well, so yeah, so like we saw the 800, 900 mark, right? So I think this is kind of the time where the people that they were the big buyers that they got in, they're starting to take profits, right? You know, they've doubled up, they've gotten more than 100% on their initial investment. So I think some people who did jump in at those lows, they're going to start taking profits. You're going to see a little dip, right? As soon as
Mm-hmm.
ETH hit $2,000, that was when, you know, a lot of people started saying, oh, if you got in at 800 and it hit $2,000 and you had a large chunk of change involved in that transaction, you're going to take some profit on that,
Mm-hmm.
probably get back a little bit, at least your initial investment. depending on what type of trader you are. If you're a diamond hander, then obviously you're just going to hold, hold, hold. But as we know, that's kind of like our dream on Twitter, right? For crypto is everyone's diamond hands, no selling allowed. Like nobody's going to sell, but obviously people sell, people take profits.
Take
There's
profits. Take profits.
you should take profits if you can. And so that's where we're seeing this little dip. I definitely see that we're going to go up from here because now this is also the point where people that got out maybe at 1,500, 1,000, they're starting to see like, oh, okay, it's got its legs back. We might be coming back. Some people are calling a bull trap on Bitcoin. I don't know if Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to start. I don't know. They've been kind of moving in different paths lately. So it's going to be really hard to tell and see what happens. It could be a lot of transition from Bitcoin into Ethereum with the merge. That's something we could also see is that people, how much building has happened with Bitcoin in the last 3 or 4 years, right? How much building has been happening with Ethereum in the last 3 or 4 years? That's definitely something people are going to take notice on. So we might see that. You might see that flip. The
The flipping.
flip, man. You never know.
It's crazy because we're on the exact same page. I literally said most of this just in word on the chain. Excuse me. And I talked about Peter Schiff saying over the weekend, hey, Bitcoin's going to test resistance at about 10K. Look out below. Like, grab onto your potatoes, Dr. Jones. It's about to get a little bumpy. But he ain't said shit about ETH, right? So are we looking good? I mean, I this plateau movement, I'm okay with the 2 to 18 to 19 to dicking around. What it tells me is that it's just a battle between smart money and dumb money. I'm not saying all dumb money because take profits. It's not a bad thing to take profits. I just love diamond hand shit and see where it goes. And hey, who's to say, who's to know? Maybe I'm the next story, that motherfucker that bought X, I didn't buy $1.5 million worth of Ethereum by any means. But hey, the motherfucker, we saw it floating around Twitter, 1.5 million. And then now all of a sudden he's got like $200 gajillion worth of ETH. I mean, I'd sure like to be that guy. So why not hold and fuck around and see what happens? That's kind of what I'm thinking. But I love your perspective on that, man, because I know you tapped in. And speaking of tapped in, another kind of thing going on in the space right now, and I really wanted to get your perspective on this because it's a hot topic. And especially with you having a business behind your project, you're not building. I mean, you are building a business within a business, but you already have the brick and mortar there, right? You already have the business backing your project, not the opposite way around. So you don't really have a biased outlook in something like this. But the whole 0% royalties going on right now, right? Overall, what's your opinion on that? Where do you kind of side? Do you have kind of like a middle ground? Are you high or low? What are your thoughts overall on that? Because I myself personally, I think there should be royalties. I mean, what the fuck? Yeah, I mean, projects need a little bit of money, especially if they have teams. People are like, oh well, teams shouldn't get paid. Wait a fucking minute. These are businesses. You have to have, just like businesses in the real world, you have to have upper levels of the hierarchy to make this thing go. Hey, it's still decentralized, but this thing's got to go. So, and the project has to have other shit to roll out, So, thoughts overall on the whole 0% royalties debacle following free mints, for crying out loud. What the fuck? Does everybody just want the whole space to be free? Are we just like the fuck, Thoughts, please, and thank you.
I mean, people have told me I need to raise my royalty fee, fans, because we're at 2.5% on
No
chat.
shit.
Yeah, so it's
I
low.
don't even look.
Yeah, people have told me
should.
I should raise it. There's some projects, the free mints, they were free to buy, and then they had 10% royalties. They usually were maxed out on the royalties, and that's how they were able to make the money off the secondary sales and this and that. And so it is funny that people are kind of going back and they're like, no, now we want cheap mints with no royalties attached, or whatever the argument is. But yeah, you need, unless you're planning on dropping multiple projects or doing something, people go the mutation route, they go pets and things like that. Like, unless your long-term plan is to continue to do that to sustain the project, because obviously you need continued income for a project, because like you said, it's a business. You can't really just do a large upfront raise and then expect that to last forever and be able to just continue working on. You need to have continued income, continued revenue, whether it's merch, additional lines, additional projects, drops, whatever it is. So yeah, it's interesting that people want to see the zero royalty, because a lot of the bigger projects, that's how they make a lot of their money, is on that royalty, and that's how they sustain, especially if it's a blue chip that's been around for a long time and they've already fulfilled what they've been doing. They're going to need stuff to continue to be able to come in, and that royalty plays a huge part of that. So it's interesting. It's an interesting argument, man. We'll see what the founders decide to do.
I'm very interested to see where it all goes for sure. But overall, I think you're either going to see high mint costs, because then how the fuck does a project make money? And what's the point of a project? Because gas fees don't go to a project, in case you fucking didn't know. They go to the little dipshits that sit on the blockchain that push through the transactions. Gas fees don't go to a project. So how's a project supposed to make money? Either you're going to see $5 gajillion or one ETH mint prices, or you're going to see literally nothing but rugs.